Hello everybody, this is Fernando for the latest Cryptids and Monsters video. Alright, let's go ahead and let's do a whole new entry here. This one yet again based on one of your newer suggestions. This one also having to do with yet another entry there down under in Australia. And when I was reading all the information associated with this very bizarre creature, whatever this thing is, it instantly reminded me, at least some of its tactics, with another video I've done in the past. This one about the drop bear. A lot of you asked, by the way, about doing that one. Yes, indeed, I have done it before, and I'll include the link for it as well in the comment section. So if you wanted to see that video, that'll be a great opportunity. But yes, there's some close parallels between both of them, and then that's pretty much it. But it has to do with this creature. Very, very bizarre creature. I haven't read anything like this before, and then after you hear all this information, you'll definitely understand why. Also, its name is definitely a doozy. So check this out. This is his name. It's the Yara Ma Yha Who. That's essentially its entire name. It's like something straight out of Star Wars almost. So let's go ahead and let's talk about all the fascinating information associated with this very, very bizarre creature. Definitely up there when it comes to the weird stuff that I've talked about in this series. So what is this Yara Ma Yha Who? Well, again, it's a creature that's been there or known in Australia for so long. It's part of their mythology. In fact, it's part of the Aboriginal folklore, if you wanted to specify it even more. This is a creature that's found down there in very specific portions of Australia. In fact, this is a good listing of its purported areas of hiding. And this creature is something that has a very distinct look. I mean, when you see it instantly, you'll see that it's all basically red. I mean, it's hardly any other creature out there in this world that resembles something like this. And then the tactics, the way it uses its way to attack people, and also apparently in the loosest form procreate. This is just really, just truly stuff that's way out there. But yes, let's first talk about its physical characteristics. So this Yara Ma Yha Who is something that is about maybe 4 feet tall or shorter. It's supposed to resemble a little red man or a woman, but that's about the closest that you'll have to it. In fact, it probably is shorter in most instances than 4 feet altogether. And then this creature, besides its blistering red skin, it also has this red hair that sometimes accompanies the top of its head. So basically the entire body of it is essentially red. I imagine probably the eyes as well tend to be red as well. And another thing that stands out very interestingly on it is its enlarged mouth. I mean, this mouth from ear to ear is easily one of the largest mouths in comparisons to most other let's say creatures out there that are bipedal. And so this thing, this mouth, it uses it for one purpose specifically. I'll talk about that here in a minute, but it can unhinge its mouth just like a snake. So imagine something, a mouth like this, already that big, and then it getting even bigger whenever it's able to unhinge its jaws. Within that mouth there are no known teeth as well, and again that'll tie into what I'll talk about here in a minute. And then the last thing to focus on its physical characteristics has to do with the ends of its feet and then the ends of its arms. Those hands, those feet have these suction cups on them too. Primarily it uses these suction cups to stick to trees. It ties into what I was mentioning earlier with the drop bear. Its main habitat are trees or tree tops. It waits for any prey to come underneath it, specifically in this case people. And then when it does so, then it unhinges or whatever those suction cups are from the tree, and then it drops down basically as a very startling surprise. Now here's where things go truly into another dimension type of weirdness. So this creature will then use these suction cups for one other purpose, and that is to suck all the blood from its prey. So those suction cups, those holes that are at the end of them, it's supposed to basically grasp on to that prey, and then instead of using its, like, let's say a bite or something else, an appendage, or maybe its tongue to suck up the blood, no, in this case it uses the suction cups themselves to do so. So imagine a situation like that where you're walking under a tree, this thing suddenly pounces right on you. It could be shorter than you, but no doubt it's still very, very powerful, probably wiry powerful is the best term to describe that. And then it uses its powerful legs and limbs to latch on, and then those suction cups go towards your arms or your legs as well, and then it starts sucking things up. And then when that happens, you're in a weakened state. Just a little bit of blood can do the trick, but imagine a lot of blood happening, and then that's pretty much it. Things are over at that point. But then where things go even more bizarre is with this. So after it sucked the blood of its entire victim, it unhinges its mouth and then it swallows it whole. You would think that that would be it. Like, it would basically eat that person. It's rotting away, it's decomposing, or it's in the digestive tract within the stomach. But no, it does not end there. It regurgitates that person afterward. When I was reading this info, I was like, man alive, like, this is something that's I've never really heard of before. I've heard about animals regurgitating things, but not tied to this. It regurgitates the person, sleeps, and then it eats it again, and then it regurgitates it again, sleeps, and then it eats it again. It continues that pattern over and over. Every single time that happens, though, this is supposed to happen. That person no longer is a person. Instead, it becomes shorter, it becomes redder, until the end is this. It becomes another Yara Ma Who as well. Remember, I was talking earlier about the procreation, the weirdness of it. This apparently is how this thing does it. It'll eat someone, spit them back up, eat them again, continue the process until it becomes another one of its own. And the whole idea at that point is this new Yara Ma Who will then continue the process with new prey. Who knows what happens to the original? Maybe they die out afterward, or maybe they just live a life and then die out as well. Either way, that is how this thing continues its existence. So crazy, right? Like, have you ever heard of anything along those lines? Anything that obviously just is spitting things back out is weird enough, but something that will create its own self, another copy of itself, another clan, another member of its tribe, whatever these things are, because they're intelligent enough to at least to be able to hunt and then wait patiently, it seems like, too, because of the nature of the land there. And then when that happens, then it can use this method to create another copy of it. I mean, it's just something that's just way out there. So yes, at least with regards to this creature, this Yara Ma Who, the suggestion, thank you so much on that's why I love making these videos like this, to present this weirdness to everyone out there. So if you ever are in Australia, and let's say you're out there in the more remote land regions, and you happen to come across trees that, let's say, look great, they look beautiful, but they're still isolated, or they are just, in this case, sometimes considered fig trees, then you'll have to just watch out for yourself, because this thing, this Yara Ma Who, may actually be waiting for you up in those trees. No way that I read, at least with regards to how to avoid or counterattack something along this line. I guess the closest thing you can do is that this creature is only active during the day. So if you go out somewhere towards the night, like let's say towards the evening, towards the nighttime, then you're safe place, because this Yara Ma Who will then essentially just be asleep, and then afterwards it wakes up in the morning, and then it continues its hunt thereafter. There is one possible real-world explanation as to what this creature is, because as far out as this creature is altogether, there's just one explanation that could be tied to it in terms of a real life animal, and you're looking at it now. You've seen pictures of this before, I'm sure you have. I have too. It's called a tarsier. Very cute little things. I mean, it looks very closely to a, like, let's say if you were to take a Yara Ma Who and then a tarsier and then put them out there in the distance, one could kind of spot one or the other, and they both look very similar. They're both small, they both have those big heads, and they also have those suctions or those little appendages towards the end of their fingers that make them look like suctions. So in some cases, or maybe in all of them, people have explained that what you're looking at is not a Yara Ma Who in the distance, but instead it's one of these things, this tarsier. The only problem though with that explanation is the fact that these tarsiers are known to be very, very peaceful, like they're not going to drop down and hunt, nothing along the lines at least of what the legends of the Yara Ma Who is, and then B, but they're much smaller than the Yara Ma Who. I was mentioning earlier that the average height is about 4 feet for one of those legendary creatures. Here in this case, this tarsier, you're looking at inches at most, 6 inches at the tallest one, so a big difference there. Also, apparently these creatures, I don't know exactly where they might live, but if there are any in Australia, that's supposed to be a very weird thing, because I don't think they're down there. So somebody might have to point that out if they truly are around that area, but I don't think that their habitat is somewhere in Australia. Instead, it's a whole different other country. But yes, that's pretty much it. That's all the information associated with this very bizarre creature, this Yara Ma Who. Anything else I might have missed? Anyone else have any comments? Anything else that you'd like to place? Please post those comments below. Anybody there from Australia? Maybe you know more about this folklore, maybe from fans, family members. It'd be great to hear those local entries. I love them, by the way. I read those comments every now and then on the YouTube side on my videos, where every now and then there are local entries, and I love it because it's a great opportunity to share more in-depth knowledge from people that actually live within those areas. So I highly recommend them. All right, everybody, thanks again as always. Take care.